It always says going live, but it never says, oh, there we are.
There we are live.
Live. Welcome, everyone, to episode 42 of Back to the Pod, despite the fact I was too lazy to change it from 41 in the title. I especially labeled this one Search Party for Seetal just because I've been a jerk. I've been hiding in my cave quietly while people wondered whether I was alive or dead.
Yeah, man.
And hopefully I didn't lose a lot of you just because I didn't broadcast. I've been too afraid to look at the numbers. But a lot's happened since we last spoke, man. I don't know, John, did you ever see the Captain America movie?
Oh, yes, I loved it.
You liked it? What was your take since you didn't get a chance to chime in?
I was not a fan of the first Captain America film. I thought there were elements of the first Captain America film that were good, but overall I didn't think it was a solid movie. But I think this one was the definitive Captain America film to date. They did so many things right, and I just love the fact that they didn't turn it. What I hated about Thor: The Dark World is that it began good, but then they turned it into a comedy. And with Captain America, it was basically a political thriller all the way through. I mean, it never lost a beat, and I really appreciated that. I enjoyed it very much.
Nice. Yeah, that was pretty much the consensus. There was very little to harp on or pick on.
Right, there's none.
The first movie sucking. I don't think anybody consensed on that.
Well, yeah, there's that. That's just this man's opinion. We're talking strictly Winter Soldier.
Winter Soldier, I love Winter Soldier a lot. Like, bring on another Captain America film. Bring it on. Yeah.
Well, they will.
They will. Their financial success depends upon it.
Yeah.
You know, he's only contracted for like 2 more movies. 1 more Cap movie, I think, and like 1 more Avengers movie. Maybe 2. I'm not sure. But basically, I think they're gonna pull that whole Winter Soldier thing where, you know, what's the name? Because Sebastian Shaw, he's contracted for like 6 movies or 7 movies. So I do believe he'll be taking the mantle of Captain America before too long.
That's where it should go. You can't have it be like Robert Downey Jr. is not gonna fucking do Iron Man forever.
No,
He'll do it.
It's too expensive.
He should.
Expensive. He should, and I don't think if he had a choice, he probably would. But you know, shit happens.
Andrew Garfield's already said he doesn't want to be 40 and playing Spider-Man, so
isn't something? Like, isn't it premature to make that statement?
Yo, he's 30-something years old though. Like, you know what I'm saying? So,
damn, I knew like Emma Stone was like near our age, or just a tad older. So I didn't know. He looks like the role. He looks like he just got out of college. So
yeah. Well, the role has just got out of high school, but
well, they always say stuff like that till they get typecast and can't get other jobs, and they're like, "Well, I'll do Spider-Man one more time. I'm 45, but sure, let's do it." You know,
let's do it, guys.
I'm in good shape.
Dude, like we had Janae and I had a discussion like after we saw it because we were talking about how all Mary Jane scenes got cut in this film.
Yeah, good. 'Cause I don't like that chick, and she's not a fucking good Mary Jane.
Right, and when you see the cut of the movie, like there was no room for her anyway.
No.
But just to fit that story in. But the question of the day was that like I don't think they're gonna invite her back to be Mary Jane.
Nope.
So who could play Mary Jane in the next one?
Any number of different chicks who are way hotter than Cheyenne, whatever her name is.
Woodley, there
you go. She can stick to Invertebrate or whatever the hell that other movie is that she's in.
Wait, what is the name of the movie? Divergent.
Some crap.
Divergent.
There you go.
Well, did you guys like Spider-Man 2?
Yes, I liked it, even though it's getting a whole lot of backlash and negative comments on the internet.
Yeah, the fucking hatred. It's thick.
People were acting like it was like a Tim Burton Batman, like there were too many villains.
You know what? It did, like at certain points. Like that was the exact phrase I said to her. Like, oh, this feels kind of Burtonish. Like especially when the way they handled Jamie Foxx's character prior to him becoming Electro. Like it
Yeah,
felt
he was kind of a caricature altogether, and a lot of articles I've read have compared him to Jim Carrey's Riddler.
But that's what it looks. I said that to a friend of mine. It looks like he's playing Jim Carrey's Riddler, even though I haven't seen the film. But from the previews, I was like, he's playing Jim Carrey. It was just a weird thing. I don't know.
Right. You know, he like does an over the top, like broken man thing where he's a little crazy, and you know what I mean. Like you see that he's completely batshit insane far before he gets the godlike powers, and that when he gets the godlike powers, he gets a fucking meltdown. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Right. It was either godlike powers or come to work with an Uzi.
Yeah.
Taking everybody out.
Pretty much. And he's
just like godlike powers beating the punch. But I don't know. Like I'd go see it. Like it's worth seeing. The effects and the choreography and the way they make Spider-Man move is way the fuck better than the last movie.
You have never seen shit like this. There's some scenes where he just does some shit. You're just like, oh my god, that was beautiful. Like you see the way he just spun around and like yeah. And then the Goblins part was really short, but I really liked the way they did his character. I like the way that kid. He's got a fucking future on him. Cole Dahan or is it Cole Dahan?
I don't remember.
What's his name?
Something Dahan. The kid is talented. He was really good in Chronicle, and now he's just,
that's where he's from. Okay, I was trying to okay.
He was the nutty kid in Chronicle.
Yeah, I wasn't so sure about him playing Harry until I saw him.
He did a way better job than freaking
Mr.
James Franco. Dane DeHaan, that's his name.
Who lures 17-year-old girls.
James Franco's, you know what I'm saying, interpretation of the character. I thought James Franco's character was pretty cool because he was likable and he was a dick at the same time. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you could, but at the same time, I don't know. The way the stories are written, you can never really see his motivation for being evil. This guy, like, he was kind of Norman Bates-ish, creepy from the word go. Like, you could just tell that he had, like, real serious daddy issues that kind of warped his character.
Yeah.
There was a scene where he was in the elevator with Emma Stone, with
Gwen Stacy.
And the way he looked at her was just like, oh my god, get out of the elevator now. Get out of the elevator now.
Elevator ride. Yeah, like, just because he's a creepy dude.
Yeah, he's like, you need to help him make the right decisions. Lear. Hardcore Lear. Like you know what I'm saying? Like, oh shit. He's gonna kill you. You're gonna trip, don't run, just get out of the elevator.
But I don't want to root it for Johnny. But like, definitely, I would say watch it. Like, I mean,
I get around to it. I will definitely get around to it. But I just couldn't do it this week, but I will.
It's worth watching, so at least all three of us can shit on it together.
Yeah. Hopefully, I didn't ruin anything for you. There's plenty to the movie.
No, I know all about what's gonna happen in it. I mean, I know about Gwen Stacy's. I know all that.
They can still see you, Johnny.
Really oh yes, I forgot we are on a podcast. For those of you that don't know what this means.
Is that the Undertaker? WWE.
All right. So, what do you guys feel about the Star Wars castings?
Definite castings.
Oh, they took a picture. Like JJ had a meeting. It's done. Like, this is what it is. And the obvious news was, Carrie Fisher, Mark Hamill, and Harrison Ford are reprising their roles.
Right.
And I'm all for that. A lot of people were kind of like, "Ooh, I don't know. Like, aren't they a little too old?" I'm like, they're chronologically going in year order. Like, they're not saying like, "Oh, this is supposed to be 20 years ago." Like, they're acknowledging the fact it's been like 30-something odd years since the last.
I'm sure they're going to have basically glamorified cameos, and it's just for the younger, the younger generation who's going to take over there.
Right. Like, I mean, Hamill's going to be the new Yoda.
Right.
Not like,
or more like the new Obi-Wan.
Yeah. Well, I say Yoda just because he was the only fucking one. at the end of it.
Okay, we got a lot of people cast, but they're not telling us who the hell these people are gonna be. And Adam Driver is weird looking.
Oh, he's going to be a villain. He's going to be a Sith villain.
Okay.
That
I like John Boyega. I really liked him.
Yeah, I like the fact that they got the kid from Attack the Block. I love the
Attack the Block was really a good movie. I liked it.
I forgot about that dude. Like, as soon as they announced it, I was like, oh, yeah, he's good. I like him.
Yo, who's Andy Serkis going to play?
Some CG...
Some creature, obviously.
Likely, right?
He's going to play Jar Jar.
Oh, please don't. Like that's the one thing I'm bucking on that's just not going to happen this time around. But
Oscar Isaac, he looks interesting.
And then they got Max von Sydow, of course, because you got to get, like in the first films they had Peter Cushing. Then in the prequels they had what was it? Who was the other dude that played Dookie or whatever?
Palpatine?
No, the other guy that played what's his name?
Dooku.
Yeah, Dooku.
Count
I was
Dooku.
supposed to say Christopher Plummer, but that's completely wrong. Christopher Lee.
Christopher Lee, right. So they had two classical actors, so now they're going for another one, which is Max von Sydow. In this
I'm guessing
makes perfect sense.
Domhnall Gleeson is going to be a descendant of, what's the name of it? Skywalker.
Right. Well, we don't know. I would assume so, just based on that name. But well, that brings up a good point. Like in this, like they strategically did this. They announced that everything you've ever read growing up to last week doesn't matter anymore. And then they made the announcement. Hey, guess what? Here's the cast.
Right.
So I don't know, Johnny. Did you read the expanded universe at all?
I read some of it until I got fed up with it. But yeah, I did read some of it.
I know, Ed, you're a big expanded universe guy, right?
A big what? Expanded universe guy? A little bit.
So this wasn't a heartbreaking thing for any of you?
Not particularly.
No.
I just felt like it was such, like, I understand why they did it, but like it's still kind of like I got mixed feelings because I did like a lot of the expanded universe.
But if
I like a lot of the video
went
game.
to the expanded universe and everybody would know exactly what they were getting ready to do, which would make it pointless.
Right. That's why it makes sense why they did it. It's just like kind of like, oh man, that's like 20 years of my freaking life. I just had to
The thing about this is that I know a lot of people are shitting on this, and me included. I'm not taking myself away from this, but I think that if they really take it seriously, it could work. It could be phenomenal. It could be amazing. Or but there's no middle. It's either going to be amazing or you're going to get the same shit you had in the prequels. But there's no middle ground.
Here's the thing. The prequels weren't as bad as a lot of people give them, like, shit on them. The prequels had issues, but they were every bit as amazing and every bit as inspiring to people who were the youth at the time as the original Star Wars. Yeah, Jar Jar Binks was annoying. Yeah, the kid who played Anakin, what's his name, Hayden, whatever the hell, he wasn't the greatest of actors, and he was kind of whiny and annoying. But there were some good moments. There was some great effects. It was visuals that you will remember. Like, you know what I mean? The colors, just everything. That huge Jedi Sith fight at the I can't remember which one it was, but they were fighting on a desert planet, and it was just hundreds of them. It was the one where Mace Windu, I think, died.
That's the third one.
Yeah.
No, you're thinking of the second one, and then the third one is when he died because he fell out of the fucking...
Yeah, there were just so many, like, beautiful things. Like, you know what I mean? Granted, they took a lot of story, and they kind of, I don't know. There were a lot of things they had no idea what to do with. Like, you know what I mean? Like, okay, what makes a Jedi a Jedi? Can anybody become a Jedi? No, we have to give a reason. Why? Because people will look deeper and question more than they used to. Suspension of disbelief is something that's hard-earned at this point because we're living in an era of casual magic. Like, you know what I mean? Like, anything can be done on screen, but you need to explain it. Like, you know what I'm saying? Otherwise, people just go, oh, they just have special effects for the sake of special effects. Like, you know what I mean? if you don't tie it to the story in some meaningful way, then people won't appreciate it. And I think the movie suffered from the fact that, yeah, it was tied to 3 of the greatest movies, like, you know what I'm saying, in sci-fi history. But standing on their own as a trilogy, they're a pretty cool set of flicks, like, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Personally, I'd rather watch The Matrix, but you know what I'm saying? I still did enjoy those 3 prequels. And it was another thing, it's hard to... It was hard to make a proper set of prequels, given that technology had advanced to the point that these movies were going to look so much better than the originals. They were able to get away with some of the explanations saying that this was during the height of the Empire, where technology was advanced, and that after, you know what I'm saying, all these different events, there was not a dark age, but things regressed a bit. You know what I mean? Right. And that's why the original 3 movies were more grimy, I guess you could say. Like, you know what I mean? Like, all the technology in the original 3 movies seemed basically inferior to what you saw in the first movie. Like that slick-ass silver ship that the princess was always flying.
Yeah.
The Millennium Falcon just looks like shit compared to that. Like no offense, like the Millennium Falcon is a classic piece of work, you know what I mean? And it just doesn't stand up. Like, you wonder how one thing comes after the other.
Well, but the thing is, the Millennium Falcon is supposed to be a piece of junk anyway. That was the beauty of it. It's supposed to be that fucked up car that you always jump in with your friends and you go and have all this fun with, but it could fall apart at any time, and that was the thrill of it.
To a degree. It's the souped up Pinto.
Right.
With the ill rims and
right. And the Millennium Falcon did have rims. You know, Han Solo had some rims.
Yeah, man. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm the only person here who feels like they weren't the worst movies in the world, but they were all right. My nephews loved them. Like, you know what I'm saying? They weren't Star Wars fans before that. Then they watched the originals, and they were, you know, wowed by the originals as well.
That bothers me, though, and this is why that bothers me, is because clearly the originals, in terms of story structure, are far better.
Yeah.
And
even Jedi.
And kids will deviate towards the prequels just because it's flashier looking.
Yeah.
And then now, my only hope, and we're not gonna see the result of it until like they're like teenagers. My only hope is that they go back and they look at the originals and go, oh, that's good. It's kind of like the Thundercats effect. Like, we all loved Thundercats, and then as adults we look back at Thundercats and wonder what was wrong with us that we loved Thundercats so much. I'm hoping that's what happens with kids in the prequels, but like the obviously, the huge difference going forward is J.J. Abrams, and I have confidence in what he's going to do, because what he basically did, which pissed off a lot of the hardcore Star Trek fans, was that he loved Star Wars growing up, and then he basically made a Star Wars film using Star Trek characters. Because really, it's Star Trek. When you watch the pacing of it, and the action.
You're talking about the first one
going on. It's Star Wars. The tone of it is Star Wars. When you look at it, and that's why he got tapped originally to do Star Wars, and he was like, "Oh, I don't know," and then they probably threw a ton of money at him, and he was just like, "Okay, I'll do it."
Yeah,
because he was the go-to.
Massive points.
Yeah, and Star Trek. When you look at the remakes, like the ones with Chris Pike and Zachary Quintos. Like it's and then you look at the originals Star Trek, the original series. Like, it's not the same at all.
Right.
Like
I think the biggest, like, I like the first Star Trek film, the reboot that J.J. Abrams did. I thought the first one was solid. Yeah. I think the biggest mistake he made was trying to reboot or remake The Wrath of Khan. He should have just made a separate standalone Star Trek movie. And it would, because the thing about it is that this is the difference between Star Wars fans and Star Trek fans. Star Wars fans pretty much know how to have fun. They don't take it as seriously. They'll go with it. even because they'll even watch the bad prequels. They'll go with it.
Star Wars is a religion.
Star Trek fans are like this. They're stuck up, and if you do something they don't want, they will turn against you, which is why the second Star Trek film was pretty much, it bombed. It didn't make the money they wanted it to make compared to the first one, because the minute the word got out that they dared touch the holy grail of Star Trek films, which was The Wrath of Khan, they turned against it. If it was a Star Wars film, it would have still made money, because Star Wars fans they'll just go with it.
Right.
Star Trek fans are just hardcore. You cannot fuck with them. You really can't.
But to be fair, they've been fucking with them since like 1990.
And hold on, real quick, worldwide theatrical performance, the box office for Star Trek Into the Darkness was nearly $500 million.
Right, but what was for the first one?
No, for Into the Darkness.
Right, what was for the first film?
$978,661 worldwide box office.
Right. Now let me see what the first one was. Star Trek. Okay, so Star Trek Into Darkness worldwide made $467 million worldwide.
Yeah, that's nearly $500 million.
That's good. And Star Trek, the first one, yeah, it made more. It made more. It did. The first Star Trek made $385 with a $150 million budget.
Mm-hmm.
And Star Trek Into Darkness was a $190 million budget and made $467 million. I mean, yeah, it made its money there, but it made a lot of anime.
Star Trek did not make more. From what I'm looking at here, Star Trek, and this was 2000.
Oh, Star Trek Into Darkness made more. Star Trek, the second one, made more.
Yeah, the first Star Trek made $385 million.
Right, and the second one made $467.
The first Star Trek did way better in home video sales, though.
Right. And also in terms of, like, crossing over that generation. Like, people actually liked the first Star Trek film.
I think people liked both of them. The one thing I had that was a problem with the second Star Trek film was that they took Khan, who was a very important character in sci-fi fiction, and who was a person of color for a reason, and they made him into a white character.
Wait,
that was very fucking disrespectful. Like, you know what I mean? Like really? I love Benedict Cumberbatch, however the hell you say his name.
Cumberbatch.
Funny ass name, but I love the dude. I will watch anything the dude is in. Period. However, this is akin to making Tiger Lily, you know what I'm saying, giving that role to the white chick. Like, are you fucking serious? The character is a character of color, and it means something. You know, it's not like when they made what is it? Now that they're making the Fantastic Four movie, they're making the Human Torch a black kid. Like,
right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That race is not a part of that character's identity.
Yeah.
Is an Indian princess. She's a Native American princess. She should be played by a Native American person, or at the very least, someone who you would believe is a Native American person, and not the white chick from what's the name of what was the name of that movie? It was a great movie. It was another remake. Her name is Rooney Mara. She was in the girl who kicked the hornet's nest. The girl with the dragon tattoo.
Yeah.
Kicked the hornet's nest.
No, because the girl who kicks the hornet's nest is the next movie, or the final movie.
Oh, okay. I thought you just confused that with Dragon.
No. and the same thing with Khan Noonan Singh, you know what I'm saying, was supposed to be
his origin
like an amalgamation of every race on the planet. Like, you know what I'm saying? The original character was played by a Hispanic dude, and he was supposed to be a eugenics experiment. Right. So the last thing he could be would be a pure white, like, Anglo dude. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just fucking wrong. Like, you know what I'm saying? They whitewashed a character that had literally a genetic, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, in his story, he could not be a pure white dude. Period. Like, you know what I'm saying? They could have sprinkled a little bit of, they could have spray tanned Benedict Cumberbatch for all the fuck I cared. That would have been enough. Like, I would have been fine with that. Like, okay, he's dark. That's good enough. Like, you know what I'm saying? He's a great actor. He'll pull it off. But no, we're going to hand the fucking job to the white dude. Like, and I know a lot of people don't feel the same way about the Fantastic Four thing and Human Torch, but to be honest, Human Torch is a ladies' man. He's kind of arrogant. You know what I'm saying? He's the happy-go-lucky guy who's freaking, you know, just happy as punch to have these powers. And he's Sue Storm's brother. Now, the term brother, even being a blood brother, he could be black and she could be white. Like, you know what I'm saying? Interracial families happen all the fucking time now. Like, he could be adopted, he could be any sort of thing and still be of a familial relation to a white woman. Like, you know what I'm saying? That is arguable, but it's not a part of the character where he has to be her twin. They were never twins. Like, you know what I'm saying? So, him changing in appearance, he could still be the same character.
Right. It's not because his name is Johnny Storm, not like Johnny Rabinowitz or something like that.
Yeah, basically. Like, you know what I'm saying? But if he was adopted, or the parents got married, or, you know what I'm saying, and the same thing, if he was the son of a different father, and he could end up being black, and she could end up being white, and, you know what I'm saying, they'd still be brother and sister, because he is the little brother.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He could be an illegitimate, you know what I'm saying, son, whatever the case. Like, you know what I'm saying? Whatever the case, he could still be her brother, you know what I mean, and not have to be a white dude. That wasn't the same thing with Khan. That's my biggest gripe with the Into the Darkness movie. Other than that, I fairly enjoyed it, and I really enjoyed the way that Abrams rebooted the universe while still paying homage to the original universe and made it like, you know, the whole time relationship thing, because that's something you could do in science fiction, but I've never seen it done that way.
But it was the thing where he pissed off a lot of people, like, because he did it for visual effect, but like a lot of the things that he did, visual effect won the fight. Like, so like a lot of the technical stuff with Star Trek, like, we know that from the cargo deck to the bridge of the Enterprise is not a 10-second turbo lift ride, but because they wanted to make a cool thing where they rotate the camera and you see Spock, and then like he's riding up to the bridge. It only lasted less than 10 seconds. That's how fast the turbo lift got him there. Like, anyone who's watched any Star Trek ever is like, bullshit. That's not how that works. So like,
what I mean about saying Star Trek fans are like this? See what I mean?
Star Wars fans, sorry, Johnny. I didn't
like that. No Star Wars fan is going to say, hey, you know it would take Chewbacca this long to get back to the Millennium Falcon, but they're not going to say that.
Yeah, they are, because
they're just looking for with it.
You're like, what the fuck is a midichlorian? What the fuck is a midichlorian?
Well, that was a big mistake. That was a big mistake. That was like one of the worst things they ever introduced in the Star Trek universe.
And that is why I'm pissed about leaving out the expanded universe, but midichlorians making it through the gate into canon. Like, that still holds up. They still have to acknowledge the past three movies and all of its follies. So Jar Jar is still there. Midichlorians is still there. I'm sure there's a laundry list, but I can't think of it because I'm just so angry.
30 years.
No, they don't have to mention it because there's no mention of it in the original trilogy.
They don't have to mention it, but it's there. Like, they didn't disband it. Like, it's there and it'll always be there. But a lot of the cool storyline from the expanded universe is not there. Like, Quinlan Vos is not there. Quinlan Vos is one of my favorite freaking characters in the expanded universe. Never happened. Dude doesn't exist.
Well, we don't know that he doesn't exist. We simply know that if he does exist, it isn't necessarily the same exact thing that happened in the books. That's all it is.
Yeah, if he exists, he's going to be a gray, dreaded dude instead of, like, you know, in his prime Quinlan Vos, because it was supposed to happen, like, way before Luke Skywalker. But anyway,
no.
I'm just stuck up about Star Wars.
But that's the thing, though. When they basically say ignore everything that came from the books, that doesn't mean that they can't use the books as source material. It just means that nothing is going to follow beat per beat exactly what was in the books. It's the same way that when they make comic book movies. Like, we're going to make a movie, it's going to be Spider-Man, but we're going to tell the story in terms of making a movie. So there are going to be things that we change, and you just got to have to accept it.
They have a license to change it in another manner. Yeah.
They're going to adapt it. They're going to make an adaptation. So when they tell you throw away the expanded universe, they're simply saying don't think that we're going to be limited by what's in the books. we are going to do, you know, Luke's kids. We are going to do this, that, and the third. We're going to have other characters. We're going to have, you know, stuff like that. But it's not necessarily going to hold the books as canon. Like, you know what I mean? Which is acceptable, I personally think. And it's more interesting that way. You never know what you might see. And granted, if there are things that are basically fan favorites, I bet money they make it into those fucking movies. And now that they're not playing by that rule book, I bet money that you're going to see characters that are completely out of their time, you know what I'm saying, simply because they were so popular in the expanded universe, and why not bring them in? Like, you know what I'm saying, why limit themselves? The same way Boba Fett turns out to be, you know, Jango Fett and all this other stuff, like, you know what I mean? Why limit yourself to the playbook of the books when you could basically have the best of everything and cram it into all these movies?
All right. I mean,
and also, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if you see a CG Obi-Wan Kenobi in there somewhere. I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah, because you know they licensed all their likenesses.
Yes, they can totally do that.
They literally don't need to bring Mark Hamill back. Like, nope. You know what I'm saying? They can make the same Mark Hamill with CG. They've done it with Bruce.
And maybe they should, because have you seen Mark Hamill recently? Maybe they should do a CG Mark.
Definitely he's not in his Jedi physique.
He's beer belly Jedi now. Beer belly Jedi.
Lost weight. Like that was the rumor mill before they released the photo that, like, hey, a 30-pound less Mark Hamill showed up in London. So he was they were training him like a motherfucker just to do this movie, I think. Can't do anything about the old age though, but I think they got rid of the beer belly.
It's been years. Fuck it. The old age will work.
Yeah.
Well, as long as you wear the Jedi robe, you can cover up the beer belly. You can do the Steven Seagal thing where you just always wear something long, you know, and baggy.
Yeah, and Harrison Ford just holds up. Like, Harrison Ford is fucking bulletproof. He's one of the vampire people of Hollywood. Him, Johnny Depp, Angelina Jolie. They're just gonna be the same age until one day they're fucking 90.
Yeah. And Carrie Fisher, let's hope she's not in a bikini in this movie, all right? We don't want to see that.
Let's just leave that out. Like, you know what I mean?
Like, I can do with the CG.
Like the neck down. That's gonna be weird.
But yeah, God, like the other big news out of the Star Wars casting, or at least the press release that they did, was this utter no-name chick who's in the movie. And she's only done, like, a short film, which I saw, which was actually pretty cool. And, like, I think a music video, and, like, she did, like, one, like, television thing, like, after that. But she's a virtual unknown. Like, so she must have rocked the audition.
I have no problem with unknowns. I mean, the original cast, they're all unknowns.
Yeah, but, like, everyone in this cast, like, has been in something recognizable before. Like, Adam Driver and girls.
What's the name of the chick you're talking about? Is it the Daisy
Ridley?
Yeah. She's been in some movies. She hasn't been in a lot, but she's been in some stuff. Yeah, short, couple of TV series.
Yeah.
And she's been in a couple movies that are currently in post-production. That's, she's pretty.
That always helps.
Especially for an actress.
But yeah, like everyone was just kind of like, or at least the conception was that, oh, it's shocking just because like everybody else, like dudes from Attack the Block, the other dudes from Girls, everyone else is the original cast. This dude has a distinguished career, like, and then all of a sudden, this chick who doesn't have a huge popularity, like all of a sudden got like her big break. Like that's what everyone's focusing on. Because this is totally a big break. If you're in a Star Wars film.
This Adam Driver dude is the creepiest looking guy ever.
That's going to make him the best villain. Like, there was nothing... I wasn't angry about that casting decision.
Yeah, the dude is just so fucking creepy looking. Like, oh my god.
Like that show, Girls? Have you seen him in it?
No.
Oh, that's right. That's where he's from.
Yeah,
he's about a big break.
That fucking show, too. Like he's just a creepy guy in general. But, like, on the show, it's funny creepy. But, let's see. Yeah, what'd you guys do for May the 4th? Did you do anything Star Wars related?
No.
No.
Nothing?
No.
I just wore a Star Wars t-shirt. That was pretty much the extent.
I didn't even do that much.
No. I wanted to watch the movies, but then I was like, you know what? Never mind. Like, because obviously 3 of them are out.
Well, you know what? I want to try that thing. You know that whole thing about there's a new way to watch them. There's an order to watch them.
Yeah,
I want to try that one day, just like one day when it's a rainy day, and watch all the films, but in that weird order they said to watch it, and it'll work.
Yeah, I think it was something like you watch.
What's the order? Hold on, I'll find the order. It's
you watch Empire first, and then you watch the second and third prequel as flashbacks, and then you go on to Return of the Jedi. I think that's how it goes.
And yeah, one is one. Which one was supposed to be the flashback? It was
2 of the prequels, I think.
The first 2 prequels?
No, I think the second and third.
So you just ignore the first prequel altogether?
Yeah.
yeah. There's one film that you're supposed to eliminate. I think it's a Phantom Menace. You eliminate it altogether.
Yeah.
People are so mean.
Well, don't make shitty movies. I don't know what to tell you.
I'll spin. That's a good trick.
Oh, like, we were talking about Spider-Man 2 for a second. I'm not going to harp on it again, but, like, there was one thing we forgot to mention. So Johnny, you can when you do watch it, you can stick around after the credits.
Uh-huh.
But it's kind of not worth it.
It's the X-Men thing?
Yeah, because fucking Fox just does not know how to... Sony, whatever the fuck. Like, they just don't understand how it's done.
Right.
Like, okay, we're going to do this because Marvel movies do this. But these universes aren't connected.
You're going to copy somebody, copy them.
Basically, like, you know what I mean?
It's like when like, for Christmas, instead of getting a Sony tape deck, you got a Kobe tape deck.
Yeah, and you know what's hilarious is if you look at the Ultimate Universe, there is all sorts of room for them to do this. Like, you know what I'm saying? For him to go to the Professor X school and be like, listen, I don't know what I am. You know what I'm saying? But this is, you know, and them to be like, well, you're not a mutant. Like, you know what I'm saying? And just you know, he has a relationship with, what's her name? The one who could pass through walls, Kitty Pryde.
Kitty Pryde,
like, in the Ultimate Universe, he goes out with her for a little bit.
Yeah.
Like, there's a number of different things they could do. Plus, the whole funny thing with Wolverine, like, they have a funny relationship. I'd like to see that on screen.
Not going to happen.
Nope.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know what we're talking about, basically, during the end credits, it's basically a clip from X-Men Days of Future Past that has zero relation to the Spider movie you just saw. Yeah. It's not even a lead off. It's not even like a tease to like some sort of combination or.
The only relation is Fox paid Sony a shit ton of money to do that.
Right.
And also, if you're gonna go for it, just go for it. I mean, just imagine an X-Men film with a cameo by Spider-Man. That would like blow fans away. They would just love that shit.
Even if he just swung in for a second, like you know what I mean? That's all you needed. Like it would have been fine. Like you know what I mean? Just acknowledge that these things are happening in the shared universe, and you would have made more goodness for your fans. You would have got geek cred, but no. We're gonna give you a trailer in the middle of the credits for an unrelated movie.
And then the sad part was that both myself and I made Janae wait too. Both myself and some other people in the theater waited for the after the credits after that to see if there was something else, and sure enough, nothing.
You know, but if you had Shazam and you let it listen to the what do you call it? What's homegirl's name? I like her too. She did the love song for the movie. Alicia Keys. The Alicia Keys song. Yeah. It would reveal to you pictures for the Sinister Six movie.
Yeah, see, if you teased Sinister Six a little more, like after the credits, that would have been cool. Because they do tease it during the film, but like,
yeah. And then that dude that was torturing poor Max, that was Smythe. That was Alistair Smythe. He's the Spider Slayer's dude.
Yeah.
He builds all the robots and shit to hunt Spider-Man.
I'm still waiting for them to put Kraven the Hunter in the film. I want Kraven the Hunter.
You know what I always wanted? And this sounds crazy now, because basically if you look back at the Sam Raimi films, they were never dark enough to accommodate this, but they should have did a Morbius fucking Spider-Man Blade flick.
Wait, does Marvel still own Morbius, though?
Marvel still owns Morbius, I think, but they could have licensed him as one of Spider-Man's villains.
That would have been great, but I'd rather them keep Morbius and do him right.
Yeah, but then that could have tied, because he's not a real vampire, like he's a science vampire.
He's a living vampire.
So fucking him and Blade hunting him, and then fucking Blade and Spider-Man crossing paths. But Blade movies were always so much more darker and violent than anything in Spider-Man.
I loved it. I loved it. I love the Blade.
I enjoyed the Blade movies. Even the last one with the... no, the last one wasn't great. The second one with the wrestling moves and the dude whose face opened up.
The second film is the fucking Empire Strikes Back of it. No doubt about it.
That was fucking awesome. Like, dude literally did an elbow drop. I was like, Vince McMahon. Like, yo, you were just like, oh my god, this is fucking awesome. He was beating the shit out of Blade.
Yeah.
They don't make him like that anymore.
No, they don't.
No.
Sadly, because they had put, my man in jail for so long, but
Yeah.
he's back out now.
Yeah, he's in Expendables.
Tax
Yeah. Sorry, I got distracted by the announcement that is he dead or is he? Oh no, he's still alive. They found the oldest man in the world, and he's in New York City.
How old is he?
111.
Wow.
He was a toddler when the Wright brothers invented man flight.
Wow.
And he lives in the Upper West Side. And you see a picture of him with like a birthday cake, and dude looks miserable. Like, I mean, I know it's supposed to be a happy story, but he don't look happy. There's living, and then there's that.
I'm 111. Fuck you guys.
I don't know if I want to go that long.
No, because all you're doing, you're waiting to die. It's like, okay.
Although the curve is going well. Like, you start to see like 60-year-olds and 70-year-olds, and they don't look 60 and 70. Like, we're starting to last a bit longer, I think, as a species. So there's that to look forward to. Like, if it was like 1977 and you were like 70, that's a bad time to be 70.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, 2014. Yeah, you could be 70. You'd be all right. Apparently not 111. Hopefully by like 2040.
Also, you gotta remember there was a time in history when just gentlemen our age, we were gods to be alive this long. It's like you're alive that long. You'd probably die in warfare by the time you were like 19 or 20.
Warfare, a splinter.
Yeah, a splinter, yeah, cold, anything.
Cold.
You want to go out in warfare. You don't want to die by some fucking germ. You want to die like 50 guys stabbing you at once, and you're like, yeah, that's how you want it to go out then, Like in Spartacus and shit,
Or a Klingon or something.
Yeah, you want something cool, some cool-ass death. Where you're cursing and spitting on them as they're putting swords in you, That's the way you had to go out back then.
In some ancient language.
Yes. And they pull your heart out and show it to you, and you're still like, the last thing you do is this, and you die. And your enemy honors you. It's like your enemy is like, he died well. And they say, bury him, he died well. That was awesome. We're never going to get that anymore.
Speaking of being old and dying, and going back to Spider-Man, one, I don't think, Osborn is dead. I think he faked his death. Two, because he did that in the comic books very well. He also orchestrated a shitload of things in Peter's life, and they deleted that scene where it was talking to him about being under surveillance.
Yeah, they did delete that scene.
Two, Harry's or Osborn's assistant was Felicia, as in Felicia Hardy, as in the Black Cat.
Yeah, I did notice that. Ed, I think I'm going to give you the nickname Spoiler.
Spoiler.
Well, he doesn't seem to be too interested in the movie, but yeah, we all knew what's the name of his character died anyway, or at least supposed to have died.
I remember there was a time where if we were reading the same book, I had to read faster. Cause sure as shit, the next morning, yo, did you get to chapter 28? No.
Dude, that's when Littlefinger tells you his whole plot.
Oh, shut up! I didn't watch Game of Thrones Sunday. I got a long trip tomorrow. And I'm gonna watch it on my ride there. So.
Where you going?
Going to Philly on business.
Okay. I'm going to quit my job.
No.
I'm gonna march in there and throw my fucking resignation on the table, then punch the dude in the throat.
Negatory. But God, what else was there? Like as I'm like literally sitting here, like I'm seeing news pop up left and right. Like, what was the other thing that caught my eye?
By the way, I have video evidence of my boss sleeping at work. How could I use this?
I believe you talking on a live YouTube channel is using it. Oh, actually, I think that bullet just didn't work now, Ed, because you gave him forewarning that you had it.
Oh, fuck him. I got multiple videos here sleeping. Months apart.
Yeah. I mean, there's always the classic YouTube. There's Reddit. There's you could always submit to College Humor.
I'll have my revenge.
Or I would stick to YouTube and put advertising on it, and that way you can make a little money for when he fires you. No, I'm kidding. Just kidding. Shit, what the fuck else? God damn it, no more Game of Thrones news. It keeps popping up.
Did you? Oh, you never read the books. You never finished reading the books, right?
Dude, I'm on like if it wasn't an audiobook, I'd be on page 1. Like I didn't listen to that much yet. So I don't know anything from the books.
They did release the first chapter of the next book already.
Oh yeah, after the many a death threat he got to hurry up. That always mystified me, like where like you threaten the life of the author who you love to finish a book.
Yeah, exactly. It's like that's right out of Misery, you know?
Yeah, that is some misery shit. He's gonna go missing and someone's gonna hobble his legs. Kathy Bates.
You have to finish the story, but that's not how it ends.
Yeah, God forbid he kills another character. Yeah, I heard some interview that blew my mind about what he does when he writes. Basically, he doesn't use Microsoft Word. He doesn't use Pages. He doesn't even use whatever the hell Linux uses. My man uses some sort of MS-DOS basic thing from like 1982, and that's what he still uses to write.
Wow.
And I can't imagine how many old school working order machines his assistant had to go buy to keep up that habit.
I know. He probably has like a dot matrix printer, you know?
Oh yeah, that's what he has. The editor's like,
dot matrix.
Just ripping off edges and shit. Yeah, like I can't imagine. Like, how do you even support that habit? Like, there's no way his like old school MS-DOS computer still works, right?
No, but you can emulate it.
So what? The assistant sets up the emulator and then lets him sit down?
You could create a virtual machine. The virtual machine could be anything you want it to be. So you could have a computer that boots up the latest Windows, then immediately runs VMware, opens up the virtual machine, and then he's at a DOS prompt with whatever software he needs.
Or
that's the IT guy in me talking.
Or he could use Google Docs.
Yeah, that would be the smarter thing to do, because then shit would be in the cloud.
Right. Well, actually, that wouldn't be the smartest thing to do because
because somebody would hack his account.
Somebody would, yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, my name is George R.R. Martin, and the dragon has 3 heads.
But like, yeah, you know what? Maybe this is all his way of security.
Maybe.
No one's going to be able to hack into his own machine.
You use a typewriter. You know, there's no way nobody get access to that typewriter.
Yeah, but all it takes is one mischievous pet or a fire.
Yeah, one fucking badly placed cigarette. There goes like.
Didn't Tom Clancy always used a. Who was it? Was it Tom Clancy or somebody always used a typewriter?
Yeah, I think it was Tom Clancy.
Tom Clancy, right?
Yeah.
If I wrote books, which I eventually plan to write a book, I'm gonna dictate the majority of that shit to my Mac. Fuck that. I'm gonna record like oodles of waves or whatever the fuck, and one day I'm just gonna play that shit back. Like, type that bitch out. Now spell check it. Now add punctuations. Editor, fix this shit.
The voice to text software on, for Google was actually pretty good, but like the whole Star Trek thing of dictating something is tiresome.
Yeah.
Well,
like period, exclamation point, question mark.
Because you have to like rehearse it like you're a theater major.
Ellipses.
Saying it. Because like I wanted to reply to an email, and I had the ability to do it, and I was like, you know what? Let me try the voice thing. Okay, I'll talk to you tomorrow. Oh wait, no, shit. Okay, I'll talk to you tomorrow and then I'll pause. It'll say, okay, I want cookies. Like it'll say something like completely different.
It'll get better. It'll get better. 5 years from now, it'll be perfect.
5 years from now, to write books for you. Like,
yes,
what?
it'll be perfect. It'll get better.
Yeah. And there's no like there's crossover too. It's not like if you ever watch an old episode, not an old episode. I hope it's not old, but like a Next Generation episode of Star Trek, where you could be talking to Data and you say, computer, look up decks 9 through 7. What else do you want? Oh yeah, and 12 through 85. Like, you know, it won't pause for you.
Cannot find. What else do you want?
Yeah. So when I do the futuristic thing of verbally dictating something on the phone, and Janae's next to me, like as soon as I finish my sentence, she goes, lame, and then it says lame like in my sentence. I'm like, stop it. But we're not there yet, but we're close.
We're getting close.
Getting close. But I guess that's it for this episode of Back to the Pod. We covered a bunch: Spider-Man, Star Trek, and Wars.
And I spoiled the shit out of it for you.
It spoiled 1 or 2 movies that you didn't see yet, and possibly a book. But thanks for watching and listening. I'm James Seetal.
I'm Johnny McNair.
And I'm the spoiler.
The spoiler.
Have a good one.